Okay, so we've had the death of Caesar. We're in Act 3, Scene 1. The senators are, have blood up to their elbows now. They're going out and declaring liberty and enfranchisement and peace for Rome. Mark Antony has sent a servant who says, like, hey, I care for Brutus alive more than Caesar who's dead. Caesar was becoming a tyrant, so I support you guys. Can I come talk to you guys? And Brutus says yes. Our big question has to be, is everything the way it looks? Okay, we are on page 866, near the top of the page, right after the servant has left to go tell Antony he can come safely to talk to the senators.
I know that we shall have him well to friend.
I wish we may. But yet have I a mind that fears him much, and my misgiving still falls shrewdly to the purpose.
Okay, so Brutus is like, man, Antony is on our side. This is awesome. And Cassius says, I'm not sure. He says, I have a mind that fears him much, and I have some pretty significant misgivings right now that he really feels the way he's saying he feels. I don't trust him, is what Cassius says.
But here comes Antony. Welcome, Mark Antony.
Almighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy conquests, glories, triumphs, spoils shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no hour so fit as Caesar's death's hour, nor no instrument of half that worth as those your swords made rich with the most noble blood of all this world. I do beseech you, if you bear me hard now, whilst your purpled hands do reek and smoke, fulfill your pleasure. Live 1,000 years, I shall not find myself so apt to die. No place will please me so, no mean of death as here by Caesar, and by you cut off the choice and master spirits of this age.
Oh, and
Okay, so Antony, first of all, can I just make sure we understand, Antony really loved Caesar. Antony cared for Caesar. If you can think of somebody that you really love and you support, maybe they're not family, but man, you would trust them with your life. And if they're going to do something, you like fully support what they're doing. So that person that you care about really deeply, maybe you thought they had a lot going for them. Maybe you thought they were really going to help things. They were going to help the world around you. And then they're cut short and they're killed. That would be life altering. I mean, this is your friend. This is somebody you love. This is somebody you had a lot of hope and a lot of maybe dreams related to this person and what they were going to do with their future. And this person has been killed. So Antony is genuinely mourning right now. And he's trying really hard to, to kind of keep his wits about him. He wants to know, do you intend to kill other people? Because you killed Caesar. So do you intend for others to also fall? And probably I'm top of the list if so. He says, but listen, if you're going to kill other people that were fans of Caesar, kill me now. Kill me with the swords in your hands. Because how could it be any nobler than to be killed the same day as this noble Roman, to be killed with the same swords that took the life of Caesar? So he's like, hey, if you're going to kill me, today's a good day for it. Might as well. You just got done killing Caesar. I get it.
Antony, beg not your death of us. Though now we must appear bloody and cruel, as by our hands, and this our present act you see we do. Yet see you but our hands, and this the bleeding business they have done. Our hearts you see not, they are pitiful. And pity to the general wrong of Rome. As fire drives out fire, so pity hath done this deed on Caesar. For your part, to you our swords have leaden points, Mark Antony. our arms in strength of malice, and our hearts of brother's temper, to receive you in with all kind love, good thoughts, and reverence.
Your voice shall be as strong as any man's in the disposing of new dignities.
Only be patient till we have appeased the multitude, beside themselves with fear. And then we will deliver you the cause, why I, that did love Caesar when I struck him, have thus proceeded.
Okay, so Brutus is like, no, Antony, we don't intend to kill you. Like, buddy, that's not what this is about. Like, nah, you're safe. We were bringing down a tyrant. Cassius says, hey, but you're going to help us figure out the new people to, like, lead the country. So, like, you're going to help us pick those people. Like, you're part of our new regime, and you're going to help us. And Brutus says, yeah, and we're gonna give all the reasons whenever we get out to the streets. We're gonna tell everybody why we did this thing. We're gonna explain it. You'll understand all of it at that point. But no, we don't mean you any harm, Antony.
I doubt not of your wisdom. Let each man render me his bloody hand. First Marcus Brutus will I shake with you. Next Caius Cassius, do I take your hand? Now Decius Brutus, yours. Now yours, Metellus. Yours, Cinna, and my valiant Casca. Yours, though last, not least in love. Yours, good Trebonius. Gentlemen all, alas, what shall I say? My credit now stands on such slippery ground that one of two bad ways you must conceit me, either a coward or a flatterer. That I did love thee, Caesar, oh, 'tis true. If then thy spirit look upon us now, shall it not grieve thee dearer than thy death to see thy Antony making his peace, shaking the bloody fingers of thy foes, most noble in the presence of thy corpse? Had I as many eyes as thou hast wounds, weeping as fast as they stream forth thy blood, it would become me better than to close in terms of friendship with thine enemies. Pardon me, Julius. Here wast thou bade, brave heart. Here didst thou fall, and here thy hunters stand, signed in thy spoil and crimsoned in thy lethe. O world, thou wast the forest to this heart. And this indeed, O world, the heart of thee. How like a deer strucken by many princes dost thou here lie.
Mark Antony.
Pardon me, Caius Cassius, the enemies of Caesar shall say this, that in a friend it is cold modesty.
I blame you not for praising Caesar so. But what compact mean you to have with us? Will you be pricked in number of our friends, or shall we on and not depend on you?
Therefore I took your hands, but was indeed swayed from the point by looking down on Caesar. Friends, am I with you all, and love you all upon this hope, that you shall give me reasons why and wherein Caesar was dangerous.
Okay, let's pause for just a second. So Antony has just shaken the hand of all of the conspirators. They all have fresh blood on their hands. I mean, this is like really sick. And horribly unclean, gross. Like, we don't really want like blood all over us, somebody else's blood. Ew. Anyway, so horribly disgusting scene. But Antony, on shaking all of their hands, he shakes, that kind of means like acceptance, right? He also does one little tricky thing here. I think it's interesting. Remember, Trebonius was the guy who got Mark Antony out of the room. I told you that if Mark Antony and Caesar had been in that Senate together, they really could have gone kind of back to back, and they could have fought off all of these senators. They're warriors. They're soldiers. But Trebonius got Antony out of the scene. Well, Antony is shaking all of these murderers' hands, and his hand is becoming covered with blood, right? And so then he says, and Trebonius, you get in here too, buddy. Get in here. You were one of the murderers too. Yeah, let's shake on that. Yeah, now you got blood on your hands too, buddy, for sure. Okay? So Mark Antony makes sure that he's marked just like all the other conspirators. And then he's actually getting a bit emotional. Remember, Antony loves Caesar. And so he's looking down at his dead friend. He calls him this. He says, here wast thou bade, brave heart. A heart is a deer. So he's using this image of like this noble and strong deer that is cornered out in the woods somewhere, and that these hunters bring down, and that this was like a strong and beautiful creature. He says, how like a deer stroken by many princes dost thou here lie. So you've been taken down like this glorious and noble creature by these men with weapons. Cassius is like, Antony? Because this does not sound like he's a fan. And Antony says, right, pardon me, Cassius. Like that's what a friend of Caesar's would say. But and Cassius says, hey, listen, I get it. Like, you loved Caesar. What I need to know now is, what are you going to do? How are you going to relate to us? Will we be able to count you as one of our friends? Or are you not? If you're not one of our friends, well, that means you must be... And Antony says, oh, no. For sure, I'm your friend. Yeah, like, we're buds, man. Absolutely. I got a little, like, emotional looking at my dead friend here, but tyrant guy. And you're going to give me all details about why he was dangerous to Rome. Like, you're going to explain all that. So, yeah, like, I'm completely with you guys.
Else were this a savage spectacle. Our reasons are so full of good regard that were you, Antony, the son of Caesar, you should be satisfied.
That's all I seek. And am, moreover, suitor that I may produce his body to the marketplace, and in the pulpit, as becomes a friend, speak in the order of his funeral.
You shall, Mark Antony.
Brutus! A word with you. You know not what you do. Do not consent that Antony speak in his funeral. Know you how much the people may be moved by that which he will utter?
By your pardon, I will myself into the pulpit first, and show the reason of our Caesar's death. What Antony shall speak, I will protest he speaks by leave and by permission, and that we are contented Caesar shall have all true rights and lawful ceremonies. It shall advantage more than do us wrong.
I know not what may fall. I like it not.
Mark Antony, here, take you Caesar's body. You shall not in your funeral speech blame us, but speak all good you can devise of Caesar, and say you do it by our permission, else shall you not have any hand at all about his funeral. And you shall speak in the same pulpit whereto I am going after my speech is ended.
Be it so. I do desire no more.
Prepare the body then, and follow us.
Okay, so after Antony is like, yeah, buddies, I'm completely like one of your friends. Like, I'm with you on this one. Brutus says, oh, good. Because if you were even a son of Caesar's, you would be satisfied with us having killed him. Remember I told you that there are rumors that Brutus is a son of Caesar's? Well, he's referring to that. Like, like I had a hand in this, and I'm maybe even his son. So, the Caesar needed to die. And Antony says, oh yeah, for sure. He says, I do have one request though. Whenever Caesar's body is out in the street and, we're getting to the point of burying him, can I speak at his funeral? Can I give, just a commemorative speech to talk about kind of how, he was awesome in some ways. And Brutus says, oh, for sure, Antony, who better? Like, you loved him, buddy, and you'd be a great person to speak at his funeral. Cassius is like, Brutus, a word. And then he says in an aside. Remember the aside? Everybody on the stage can't hear the aside. The aside is either a person talking to one other person on stage nobody else can hear, or a person speaking out to the audience. Okay, so this is an instance where Cassius pulls Brutus to the side, and he speaks to him privately. Normally when people speak privately, they're whispering, we don't actually hear. This is a stage play, so of course we get to hear. Cassius is like, you don't know what you're doing. You just consented for him to speak about Caesar in the street. He's going to, stir the people all up. He's going to get them all riled up. He's going to make them all crazy. Like, this is terrible. This is a terrible, terrible idea. You don't know what he's going to say. This is awful. And Brutus is like, I mean, maybe you have a little bit of a point. Okay, Mark Antony, we need you to talk about, like, that you agree with us and that we're letting you speak. And I'm going to speak first and tell everybody that we're letting you speak. And then you're going to say, like, how awesome we are. And then you'll talk about Caesar and that he needed to die. And Antony says, oh, I mean, right, yeah, for sure. That's what I was planning on anyway. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. That's awesome that you're going to let me speak on Caesar's behalf, kind of at his funeral. Awesome. Really, really legit, guys. And then they're like, okay, so get the body all straightened out, and we'll meet you out in the streets. Okay, so you stay here if you need to, say goodbye to Caesar or whatever. That's fine. And then we're gonna meet you in the streets. They leave. Brutus, Cassius, the other senators are now gone. Now it's just Antony with Caesar's dead body. I wonder if he'll say anything different now that nobody else is there.
Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do ope their ruby lips to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy.
Oh no.
Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war, all pity choked with custom of fell deeds. And Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge with Ate by his side, come hot from hell, shall in these confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with carrion men groaning for burial. You serve.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you caught on to that, but probably you did. Antony's been playing a pretty good game so far, okay? Basically, he heard that the senators had killed, remember he was in a different room with Trebonius. He heard that they had stabbed Caesar, that Caesar had fallen. Caesar was dead. He ran to his home. He sent a servant to say, hey, what do you intend to do with me? And I'm for you guys. I'm with you guys. And he was able to see them. He spoke to them. He said, yeah, I'm on your side for sure. If you'll just let me speak at Caesar's funeral, that would be really great, guys. And they're all like, oh yeah, no problem. That's awesome. Cassius is not a fan of this idea. But remember, Cassius is no longer in charge. Brutus is a natural enemy, natural leader, not a natural enemy. Brutus is a natural leader, and he's kind of taking control of the conspirators. He's kind of the one in charge. So even though Cassius is like, I'm not comfortable with Mark Antony speaking publicly, Brutus is like, no, he's with us. This is fine. It's going to be great. We'll just give him some parameters, like some rules, some things he needs to talk about, and it's going to be fine. And Mark Antony is like, yeah, sure, whatever, no problem. Absolutely. And then as soon as they leave, he says, please forgive me, Caesar, that I'm so meek and gentle with these butchers. That's how he actually feels. That's the truth of his emotions. He says, they ruined the noblest man that ever lived. That's how he actually feels. He says, woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. And then he's like, I'm going to prophesy that Rome is going to have civil war. We're going to bring down, like, blood's going to be raining down from the sky. It's going to be so terrible. That's what's about to be unveiled on this country because they've killed the most amazing man alive. He says, Caesar's spirit ranging for revenge with Atty by his side is coming hot from hell. And he's going to have his vengeance on these men who stabbed him in the back. And Mark Antony is going to make sure that this happens. Man, he is ready. He says havoc is going to be raised on Rome. Okay, then he turns, a servant of Octavius Caesar. Octavius Caesar is, Caesar Octavius, he is Caesar's nephew. And he's the one who, Caesar doesn't actually have any natural born children from his wife. And so Octavius is the one who kind of would be the heir apparent if something happened to Caesar. So a servant from Octavius has just come in. Mark Antony is talking to him.
Octavius Caesar, do you not?
I do, Mark Antony.
Caesar did right for him to come to Rome.
He did receive his letters and is coming, and bid me say to you by word of mouth, oh, Caesar.
He sees the
Thy
body.
heart is big. Get thee apart and weep. Passion I see is catching from mine eyes, seeing those beads of sorrow stand in thine. Begin to water. Is thy master coming?
He lies tonight within 7 leagues of Rome.
Post back with speed and tell him what hath chanced. Here is a mourning Rome, a dangerous Rome, no Rome of safety for Octavius yet. Hie hence and tell him so. Yet, stay a while. Thou shalt not back till I have borne this corpse into the marketplace. There shall I try, in my oration, how the people take the cruel issue of these bloody men, according to the which thou shalt discourse to young Octavius of the state of things. Lend me your hand.
Okay, so Octavius has just come out to the outskirts of Rome. He has held off there. By the way, when the servant sees Caesar's dead body there, he's in mourning. Remember, this is somebody, he serves Octavius, Caesar Octavius, and so he would know Caesar personally, and he is overcome by emotion whenever he sees Caesar's dead body. And Antony is like, I know, this is horrible. This is horrible. But then he gets back to what he needs to tell him. Don't let Octavius come into the city right now. It is not safe for him. They've just killed Caesar. If they see him, they may kill him. Let me talk to the people. Let me do this whole funeral thing, and we'll see where we stand at that point. Okay, so Octavius, who is Caesar's kind of natural heir, he's staying outside of the city until it's safe to enter, and Antony is planning to speak Caesar's kind of funeral oration. Okay, so the next scene is going to be out in the streets of Rome with a lot of speaking going on. Get ready, these speeches are pretty awesome.